Welcome to episode 15 of the Run for the Million preview here on Up for Discussion. Today we highlight the number one rider in NRHA history, Andrea Fappani, and his choice for horse at the Run for the Million. Although this is an interesting one because Andrea has two horses of equal ability in my mind, and I don't know who he's going to choose. I think I know which way he's leaning, but the decision could be made on Thursday. So I'm actually going to highlight both horses today. As of most other people, I've only highlighted one. I will highlight both horses in back-to-back runs, and then I'll give you my conclusions at the end of what I think is going to happen. Doesn't mean that it's going to. The first horse is obviously famous, and everybody knows him, and that is Trash Talkin' Spook, the horse that Andrea was reserve on last year with a 234, a stellar 234. He's a horse by Ganatrasha out of iSpook, who's a smart spook mare that was out here in California for a long time. This gelding has proven to be an incredible athlete and quite the pair for Andrea, and especially as he's gotten older and more mature. And as Andrea himself has said on his podcast and other places and in private conversations, he started to figure that one out a little more, and it made the work easier when they worked together. His other horse is All Bets Are Off, Gambler, that's owned by Rancho El Cerrillo. He's a gunner out of Wimpy's Little Chick, royally bred. He won the 2020 Futurity pretty handily. And he made two of the best runs I've ever seen in my life at places where nobody would remember them, except for the fact that they were that great of runs. One marking a 231, almost easy at Rainy by the Bay last year in 2022. And this year in the prelims of the NRBC, when he marked 230 to win the first go. Either horse, I think, is a good choice, but we're going to jump in and I'm going to talk about the strengths of both of them, and then I will see you afterwards for the conclusion. And here we are at last year's Run for the Million. This is going to be Trash Talkin' Spook's 234 run, and let's just get into it. Now, in my opinion, his first move was one of his weaker moves in this pattern, and it's a great pattern, so it's hard to say. Not many horses would have made that save, and not many riders would have made that save that Andrea and Lefty made when he kind of hit that spot and almost wanted to ski jump. He held the ground, he got through it, but it is the thing that probably is the difference in him winning it last year or not. Now watch this horse turn. Anytime pressure's added, he is so quick-footed, he's so solid with the way he lands his feet. It is incredible watching this animal turn. And this left-hand turn is even more impressive than what his right-hand turn was, as he just fires right here. Boom, straight in the body, physical, quick-footed, plus all day long. Depending on how much you like it, that's a big deal. This horse could fire, and he can make it look easy. Now, where this horse shined was actually his circles. And don't get me wrong, he was great everywhere in this run, but this is where he really shined, and it'll be the second set that's even more impressive. But Andrea runs this set of circles, and I wish it would show speed more on video than it does than it does here. But if this horse would run circles like this and you're in person, you can hear the air move as they come by. That's how fast they're going. And here, big shutdown, nice and easy. Andrea shows him off a little, guides him again, no big deal. This horse is so strong, so steady everywhere you look. He's a big strided horse. He's a big mover. Beautiful lead change, which any of you who know his history know that was where he had issues when he was younger, but he's so solid now. And once again, this is last year as a 5-year-old. He's 6 now. He's even better because we saw that at the NRBC and at the American. This horse can fly here. Now, this left set of circles is what I wanted to talk about. Only 2 times in my entire life have I seen a major event with 5 judges where all 5 judges plus 1.5 a maneuver. This left set of circles is one of them. Every single judge in that pen, and they are the best judges that I've been around, all of them plus 1.5 that left set of circles. That is an incredible achievement. And it also shows that it's not always that head-down style that gets rewarded. It's the willingness, the willing, and all of the things we talk about that they reward. Big stop, and that's about as big as this horse stops, which was incredible. Good solid rollback. Maybe could have been a little tighter, but we're nitpicking and splitting hairs here. And we're going to get to, when we get to Gambler's Run, we'll talk about where I think that balance is and what's stronger about it. This horse, when he's on, he's as good of a stopper as Gambler, but I think Gambler does it more often. That being said, this horse can roll back wicked like there, and he's so quick-footed in the turn, he might have the edge in that one particular maneuver. And as we've seen, he's a circling fool. Now, here's the one other little hole in this run, what kept it from being a 236 probably, is watch his hind feet in this stop. There's just that little bit of catch where he has to rebalance himself, and it's still monstrous, but that is what cost him winning the million from Patriot, because there was just that little bit of hitch in those two maneuvers that made those maneuvers go from being plus ones to plus halves, or plus 1.5s to plus ones, whatever you want to call it. But obviously an incredible athlete, and one of a few horses I think could get around Casey and Amazing. And here we are. As you see, this is not Raining by the Bay or the NRBC. I actually chose to use his run from the shootout last year, and you'll see for a very specific reason in just a minute. Now watch this thing's strength, power, and grace as he goes to the ground. I mean, it's just an incredible feat for this horse to hit the ground the way he does, move his front feet as smooth as he does, and everything else that he does is just so nice. Now, when I was taking notes watching this run back, the only thing I could write down for this right set of turns is just the word awesome. I mean, that is straight as can be, body-wise, body position, foot speed, foot position, everything about that is picture perfect. We love it. And the left turn, this is the reason why I wanted to show you this run. He turns wicked here to the left, but there's a slight hiccup where he loses his hind end and has to rebalance on the fourth turn, and that's where the overspin comes from. This horse has just so much physicality that sometimes his rebalancing will change something, and he's so smooth doing it you won't notice it until you look back in slow motion on a video like this. Now we get to another strength of this horse. I mean, we're going from strength to strength of this animal. But he is so calm. He just came in and got his blood pumping, lopes off smooth as can be small, and then goes and runs a big fast the exact same way while still cooking at a pretty good clip, although not nearly as hard as he's going to run on the next side. But this horse is not going nowhere. He's just so big strided and so smooth and so appealing to watch. And this is what makes him one of my favorite horses of all time, is just how easy he makes very difficult things look. It's one of the things that made, speaking of a rival of his, it made Maverick very famous, is how easy he made circling look, especially the big fast. And honestly, in the big fast, this horse reminds me a lot of Maverick. He's so big strided, and he covers so much ground that he doesn't look like he's running as fast as he is. I mean, he's cooking around there, and it does not look as fast as it is because he covers so much ground. And he's a horse that is so smooth with everything. He is silky smooth with everything he does, and that's why he is one of the best horses in the country. Now, if you all remember this day, he was in the first, I want to say 6 horses, maybe something like that. He was very early on. I want to say he was in the second set of this class, and marked huge, and people chased him until Casey caught him finally. Same thing. Go look at that. With just massive talent, great rollback to the right. Everything laterally is I don't want to say easily controlled, but it's controlled to such a degree that Andrea can just place him there at a high rate of speed. This thing stops probably as good as anything in the field. The only horse that might stop, if you like his style as much, is Amazing. And I almost prefer this one, and that's saying something because I think Amazing is one of the best horses I've ever watched and can put stuff together. But this horse just so incredible. And I think he might, because of that precision control ability, that might be one of the things that would make Andrea lean towards this horse. Because when he's right, he's amazing. No pun intended for the horse we're going to look at tomorrow. That being said, I think Gambler might be my favorite horse in the country. And with what his ability level is, I don't see a ceiling on what he can do. It's just a matter of him putting it together like he did here. easily the best position and worst position to be in for somebody in this deal, as Andrea has two phenomenal horses to choose from, and either way could work out for him. The fact that Trash Talking Spook has stepped up and performed so well lately puts him at the forefront of mind, especially with the way he performed in Vegas last year. That being, and he might have a little more turnaround than Gambler. That being said, though, all bets are off. Gambler, I believe he has more of the eye appeal from a judge's standpoint. If things go right, that horse has the same kind of draw and appeal that a horse like Downright Amazing has, which is he makes the very difficult look very easy while being incredibly physical himself. He might be a slightly better stopper, whereas lefty Trash Talking Spook is a slightly better turner. They both circle extremely well, two very different styles. But I've watched Andrea plus 1.5 to every judge a set of circles with lefty. So it's a toss-up as to who he chooses. In my gut, I would pick, and this is also personal bias because he's my favorite horse in the country. I don't know if he's the best horse in the country, but he's my favorite horse in the country. I would pick Gambler. I think he is that level of horse that Amazing is, who just hasn't had the consistency that Amazing does. But he has the same top-end level. And I think that could make for an interesting challenge to the top of the leaderboard. So, as usual, Andrea will make the choice he's going to make and probably be in the top 5 and definitely probably challenging for that top spot because it's who he is. It's why he's number 1 all time. We'll see on Saturday what it looks like, but I will see you guys all tomorrow for my follow-up. And if you guys haven't figured it out yet, my last 2 up next tomorrow, I'm not even going to tease it for you. It's Casey Deary and Amazing. So if you want to come back and watch me rave over one of the best horses I've ever seen, come back tomorrow.